With so many career pathways and opportunities available when it comes to styling, we wanted to give you a real-life insight into the life of a stylist. I sat down with some of ASI's styling graduates to hear more about their styling journey and see what they've been up to since leaving the classroom. Each of these stylists have been making waves in their own styling careers and niches. They work in areas from personal styling to in-store styling, personal branding, editorial, and celebrity styling. They really are a great example of how, with the right mindset and tools, you can achieve a career as a professional stylist. So let's start with an introduction. Introduce yourself. Tell us who you are and what you do as a stylist.
Hi everyone, my name's Fernando and I studied at ASI in 2017, so 3 years ago now. I'm currently working at Oscar Hunt in Sydney as a men's suiting specialist. I'm also a freelancing personal stylist, with my niche being menswear and men's style. My clientele are sort of diverse, ranging all the way from university students to CEOs and executives.
Hi, I'm Michelle and I studied at Australian Style Institute in October 2019, and I now work part-time as a personal and creative stylist.
Hi everyone, I'm Justina. I studied at Australian Style Institute 4 years ago and now own my very own styling business, Beyond Styling, working with both men and women. I'm really passionate about helping and empowering my clients to feel good in what they wear and also to articulate who they are through their personal style. I also work with Feather & Noise, which is an Australian online retailer, as their senior stylist in their styling suite, enabling me to work one-on-one with clients in a more intimate personal styling capacity.
Hi everyone, my name is Tania Ellis. I trained with Australian Style Institute just over 4 years ago. I'm now working in my own styling business, It's Nice Styling by Tania, where I work with men, women, retailers and brands across Southern Australia. Something that I'm very passionate about in my business is bringing fashion and styling services to country areas. My heart lies in the country, and to be able to bring those services that are normally readily available in city areas to country areas is something that I'm truly passionate about.
Hi, my name's Emilia Morris and I'm a personal and a fashion stylist. I studied with ASI in April of last year, and never in my wildest dreams did I think my styling career would take off so quickly.
Hi everyone, my name is Vanessa and I trained with Australian Style Institute just over 2 years ago. I'm now a personal and corporate stylist.
Tell us about what you were doing before studying with ASI and what you were in search of.
Before I was studying at Australian Style Institute, I was in chemical waste management for 10 years. And I knew it wasn't for me. It was more the fact that I didn't really know what my passion or my calling was in life. I remember this story, or this moment, quite fondly. It was during the Sydney storms in the tail end of 2016. I was laying in bed, had a cup of coffee, and I was just thinking, what am I meant to do? What is my calling in life? And literally with a crash and bang of thunder and lightning, I had this weird calming wave of styling come through me, and I knew at that moment that was me. That was what I was meant to do. That's what my calling was. So I spent the rest of that Sunday afternoon drafting up my resignation letter. I went to work on the Monday and handed it in, and that was it. I think that was the official moment I started my styling journey.
Before studying with Australian Style Institute, I was working in corporate marketing and also was a mum of 2 children under the age of 7. I always thought I would go into quite a creative career, and while marketing, I guess, ticks the boxes on the creative front, I found myself wanting more. I saw styling as an opportunity to combine my creative eye and eye for detail with an opportunity to work with people and closely with people and help make a difference to them achieving their goals. In my experience, when you really own your personal style and feel good about yourself, you can really show up, and that allows you to achieve your goals in life. And I love that through styling, I get to help people do just that.
Before studying at ASI, I was working as an accountant in corporate. I have been working in the accounting industry for a good 10 years. And what that job was for me was that it was safe, it was secure, and ultimately it paid the bills. I knew though deep down that that was not my forever job, and I knew that that was not what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Yet at that point in time, I think I didn't really know what exactly I wanted to do. All I knew was that I was sick and tired of dreading going to work and waiting for the next public holiday, or just wishing time away. I did lots of research into different avenues of what I could get into in the creative space. This finally led me to Australian Style Institute. I spoke to Penny and then attended an info session and watched Lauren speak. And straight away, I knew exactly where I needed to be. I think beyond the clothing and the fashion side of things, what really captured me about styling was the human side and the heart and soul behind the work. I was really captured by the fact that we are able to work with our clients and help them discover their style and build new confidence and find joy in dressing up every day. I knew then that it was styling that I really needed to pursue.
I've been working in government for the past 10 years and it's just not bringing me joy anymore. If anyone works in government, you'll understand where I'm coming from, where you're restricted to policies and procedures, which doesn't leave much room for creativity. I wasn't someone that from a young age where I knew I was going to be a stylist. I really wasn't into fashion when I was younger. It's just something that has evolved over time. I've always had a knack for putting outfits together and helping others around me with their style. But yeah, it wasn't until last year where I could have that feeling in the bottom of my stomach where I just knew I had to act on that gut feeling and take a leap of faith and enroll in a styling course with ASI.
Before studying with ASI, what did you think a stylist was? And now that you are one, what is a stylist to you?
I initially just thought a stylist was for the rich and famous, ultra wealthy, or people who are really short on time to organise their wardrobes, to shop for them, for fashion shoots, movies, music videos. But after being in the industry for a while, I realised a stylist is for everyone. The role of a stylist, of a good stylist, is to help their client achieve a brief. Everyone's got a brief, from individuals to companies to organizations to movies. So it's quite a broad industry. I always thought styling was about clothes and fashion, but it's actually quite the opposite. The clothes and the fashion is actually, to me, in my experience, is a byproduct. The main crux of being a stylist is actually getting to know the person, understanding what they're about, the way they identify themselves, and then bringing out the best version and the true version of themselves, and just helping them be more genuine.
Before I began my studies at ASI, I honestly did not even know the role of a stylist existed. If you were to ask me what a stylist was, I probably would have envisioned a hair professional. This was obviously until I stumbled upon Australian Style Institute and discovered that putting together outfits and going shopping for someone was an actual career pathway. It was at my training at ASI that I was absolutely mind blown. I discovered that being a stylist was so much more than putting together outfits or being a personal shopper. It was transformational.
Before I began my studies, I thought a stylist was just someone that put great outfits together. I now know that it's so much more than the clothes. It's about a feeling. It's the emotion that comes from style and the confidence that it can create. For me, most importantly, it's about the body confidence that can come through your style. It's seeing that shift in a client's thoughts when they go from complete negativity to self-love. There's no better feeling than that, and it's such a rewarding thing.
Before starting my studies with ASI, I thought that being a stylist was only for celebrities or for the rich and famous, but I was so wrong. Being a stylist to me is about helping people feel good about themselves, using fashion and working in a fast-paced creative environment, and it's something that I absolutely adore.
What has been a highlight for you in your styling journey so far?
A highlight of my styling career was assisting on a photo shoot for Stella magazine, and it was actually the cover story featuring Julia Gillard.
A highlight in my journey so far has to be being able to work with one of Australia's top fashion retailers, Country Road. I was able to work with them across a couple of activations, which saw me do different things in different capacities. I was able to work as an in-store stylist, which saw me working with their clients one-on-one on the floor, which was truly exciting. I was also able to deliver a presentation to 15 of their staff members in one of their Melbourne stores around the topic of the role of a stylist and how to serve their customers better. It was really exciting to see their staff members really excited to want to elevate their service and what they could deliver to the customers. In a social media capacity, I also worked with Country Road on their Instagram in answering style questions. And this was really exciting because it was something different and something really refreshing. It definitely challenged me in ways I never thought before, but it was also really rewarding to see how their audience managed to get lots of value out of the Q&A. I think this is really monumental for me because firstly, I was coming from a career background that was polar opposite to what styling was. Not only that, I recently at that time just left my full-time career in accounting to pursue my dream career in styling. And with all of that, I always had voices in my head telling me I was not good enough or that I wasn't going to make it in this industry. But standing there across the activations and delivering what I was delivering and getting the feedback that I was getting truly cemented for me that I was in the right place and that I was doing what I was called to do. Which is why I think this would definitely stay as one of my top highlights in my career.
A career highlight for me, this one's easy. That was definitely a photo shoot that I worked on that introduced Elise Knowles as the new Myer ambassador. Publication was Stella magazine, and the location was Rose Seidler House, which is a beautiful heritage listed house in Sydney. And a vintage yellow Cadillac had been hired for the shoot. The heritage listed house presented a few challenges because in a heritage listed home where there is a caretaker on site, you cannot move any of the furniture. You actually can't use any of the rooms other than when you're just standing in them to take the images. So steaming garments in the storeroom and trying to keep them clean and hanging them off racks and not letting them touch the ground. We had one gown that was a floor-length, bright yellow Tony Manichevsky gown that Elise wore while draped over the bonnet of the Cadillac. That turned out to be the cover shot. But the challenge in trying to keep Elise on the bonnet and not slide off and keep the gown clean, there was just so much work and so much joy in the whole thing, the team worked together, and just to see at the end of the day, to see all those images in print and to see your name credited in a magazine, that's definitely a highlight, and it's a moment that I'll never forget.
I would have to say my highlight in my year and a bit as becoming a stylist is being the front cover girl of a lifestyle magazine in Geelong. So it's the most popular and most circulated magazine in Geelong. It's called GT Magazine. When I got the call to be featured in this magazine, I nearly fell off my chair. Usually this magazine's reserved for Geelong Cats players and their wives and really influential people in Geelong. So when I got asked to share my story of becoming a stylist, it was just one of the most incredible feelings that has ever happened to me. And because they don't actually tell you get the cover until the magazine comes out on a Saturday. So I only found out the day that I opened up the newspaper where the magazine's inserted into. And from there, my business really just took off because people saw my face on the cover of this magazine, and I'm now booked out a month in advance for styling sessions, which is really amazing.
So it'll be really hard for me to pick just one, but I'll try. So in 2019, I was asked to assist Lana Wilkinson at the 2019 Logie Awards on the Gold Coast. Lana was dressing some amazing talent: Georgia Love, Larinska Merrington, and Elise Knowles. From the moment that I walked into Star Casino, it was absolutely everything that I dreamed of. The celebrity hair and makeup artists, the amazing gowns, the red carpet, the paparazzi. I had such an incredible day, and it's just something that I will never, ever forget. But as I said, it's really hard for me to pick just one highlight, because since starting in 2018, I've actually created a tab on my website, and it's my portfolio of over 50 highlights since starting. I'm incredibly proud to have done that, and I know that there's so many more highlights to come.
Tell us about a time when something went wrong and how did you overcome it?
On one particular occasion, I'm not going to say things went wrong. I'm just going to say things could have started off a little better. There was an opportunity I had. It was for a Hugo Boss Spring Racing Carnival campaign in 2017. An opportunity that came through Australian Style Institute. And I was really excited for this particular opportunity. Being based in Sydney, the shoot was down in Melbourne, and I volunteered to fly down for the day, do the shoot, and fly back home to Sydney. And at that point, I embraced the Australian Style Institute mantra of say yes to figure out how. I had overbitten more than I can chew at that point, because I had not done an editorial shoot at that point. So I was throwing myself in the deep end, really. However, it was such a great learning experience. I went down and everything just sort of flowed and naturally came together. And I put it down to the fact I backed myself. I knew what needed to be done, even though I had no experience. I just took the lead, took initiative, and just made sure I was the best stylist I could be on that day. And it was such a privilege to hear from the creative director that I was the best stylist that he's ever worked with. So from my end, not ever doing an editorial shoot or not having that experience, having the creative director who's done big name campaigns before saying I was the best stylist he's ever worked with was such a confidence boost. And it all came down to the learnings and integrity ASI instills in their stylists of just back yourself and say yes to any opportunity that arises.
I was working with a group of creatives, and we were creating an editorial spread with the aim of being published in a particular magazine. We have come up with a beautiful beige editorial concept, and I was ready for the day with my 4 to 5 looks that we were going to shoot. So we commenced shooting, and it was going really well. Until midway through the shoot, the photographer looks to me and says, "Hey, Justina, I really like that top that model's wearing. Can we create another look that highlights that top?" I, in that split second, went into panic mode because I have already created the looks for the day and all the items that I need. And no, I did not have another look that highlighted the top. And so I scrambled my thoughts and got in a bit of a fluster. But then I took a breather and stepped back and said to the photographer, "Sure, I can do it." And so in that moment, I went to my pieces of clothing, everything that I had for the day, and whipped up another look that highlighted that particular top, which ended up being received really well. The photographer loved it, the team loved it, and we ended up being published in the publication that we were aiming for.
Well, I'm fortunate that nothing's ever gone too wrong, but I do recall one time when I was doing a fashion show and I had partnered with online fashion retailer Bird's Nest. So this particular event, it had been 2 weeks since the event. I had returned the suitcase, but I got an email saying that they hadn't received the suitcases. Of course, I initially panicked because the contents of those suitcases was over $7,000 worth of garments. But I went back to my business background, so I was fortunate that I had a full paper trail of the return, including all receipts and documents from Australia Post saying who had signed for those suitcases at Bird's Nest. And then I went back to my training at ASI, and something that you always said, Lauren, and that was to have an attitude of gratitude. So I made a phone call to Bird's Nest straight away, thanking them again for their support, and we talked through the issue with the suitcase, and we located the suitcase. I worked with them to locate the suitcase. It turned out that it had been returned and it had been sent to another department, and someone had signed for it there and not communicated that information. But just by having that attitude of gratitude and being upfront with them and helping them work through the situation, I now, to this day, still have a great working relationship and partner with Bird's Nest. And it's so important to do that when people are supporting you.
Oh, this is a really good question. In the styling industry, you're going to have so many amazing highs. But also the reality is with anything in life, there will be lessons to be learnt. And one that sticks out for me is when I first started my pro bono clients, I was getting prepared for a personal shopping session as part of those pro bono sessions. And I thought I was being prepared, thought being the key word. I had stayed up fairly late doing some research to make sure what I had selected for my client as part of the shopping list based on the style consultation was going to be in stock. It was online, so of course it had to be in store. And then I rock up downtown to Westfields and Market Square, which are the two main shopping centres within Geelong, and they're not open. So I had prepared, but I hadn't prepared myself because the shopping centre was opened an hour later than I thought was going to be open. So that means I only had an hour to do the pre-shop, which isn't very much time. And thankfully, because I had done my research the night before, I knew what I was going to select. And I'm also fortunate enough that they were in stock because that doesn't always happen. So prepare. So that means making sure that you know that the retail stores or the boutiques are going to be open. So that was one of the biggest lessons I learned earlier on.
What would be one word of advice for others that were thinking about entering into the styling industry?
The one piece of advice I would give for anyone wanting to become a stylist and pursue their career as a stylist is to embrace your inner "fuck it, I got it" mentality. The biggest detriment to your growth as a stylist is not believing in yourself, not backing yourself, and not putting yourself in situations for growth. With that being said though, staying humble and curious to learn is the best possible thing as well. So put yourself in situations where you might feel uncomfortable, because those are the situations that are going to help you become a better stylist. So yeah, embrace your inner "fuck it, I got it," and you will have it.
My advice is that if it's something that you really want to do, but you are getting in your own way or inventing excuses why it won't work, really challenge that thinking. I know personally, before I made the decision to study at Australian Styling Institute, I was driven by, or I guess held back by fear. The fear of not being good enough, the fear of failure. And it wasn't until I really challenged that. And I think it was also coming across a quote which said the quickest way to failure was to not even try at all. So once I got my head around that, I decided that I had to give it a go. And if I was going to give it a go, I was going to give it 100%.
My word of advice is go for it. There is no better time than now. I remember when I was making that decision for myself, a big factor in deciding was that I really did not want to live in the what if. What if I pursued that dream career in styling? What would have happened? I'd rather have given it a red hot go and know what the end outcome is. And I guess for me, the end outcome now is that I am living my dream career and I'm loving every bit of it.
Something that stands out to me from day one is aligning yourself with creatives in the industry that work as hard as you and share the same energy and are really there to push one another and back one another.
My advice for anybody out there that's thinking about becoming a stylist is to take action. That's ASI's number one rule, and it's certainly worked for me over the years. So I didn't think 3 years ago when I was working for my husband's construction company and bringing up my 2 children that I could ever make a full-time career out of being a stylist. Not to mention the fact that I come from a small regional town in New South Wales and I have absolutely no celebrity contacts. But fast forward to now and I live my dream every single day, and I'm so grateful to have had the incredible training and support from all of the people at ASI and also my style sisters and ASI community.
What does the future hold for you? Do you have anything particularly exciting on the horizon?
I have a few exciting things on the horizon, a few editorial projects, and I'm also going to be expanding my offering in the personal branding space, particularly working with female entrepreneurs. And I'm just going to be open to possibilities and opportunities and seeing where that might take me.
There are definitely a couple of things in the works at the moment. One of it being the expansion of my packages to include virtual styling. I think in this time when everyone is at home, that is so essential. But also prior to this whole COVID era, I've had the opportunity to work with a couple of clients across Australia and also overseas, and have done virtual styling sessions with them, which have been really well received. So that's definitely one thing that I'll be working on creating a couple of packages that would suit the clientele that Beyond Styling services. I'm also looking into collaborations with businesses that are aligned with my values and really support the local small businesses at this time. I think there are so many opportunities to be explored amongst small businesses which align in terms of value and what you can offer your clients. And that's definitely something that I'll be exploring in the near future.
I this year launched into a new state and expanded my business into designer handbag rentals. I'm currently working with Launceston City Council on an exciting project which will see Launceston host its very first large-scale fashion event. This is actually an event that I proposed to the Launceston City Mayor, and with his support, I've been working very hard to gain further support and funding for this event. So to watch it unfold and come to fruition will be very exciting.
There's always so much going on in my business and I absolutely love it. So this week for me, I am doing an event management gig. This was born from a client of mine who I personal styled about a year ago. We got on so great and she loved my organisation and creative skills. So a few months ago, she called me and asked if I would be her event manager for her 40th birthday. Next week, I'm working with our local council, photographer, and some business leaders on a project to help industry professionals create new LinkedIn profile pictures. I'm really excited to be a part of this, as COVID has obviously made a massive impact in the employment of professionals. And so this is a way for me to utilise my styling skills and give back. The following week, I'll be presenting at the Hastings Women's Business Network Breakfast, and that's all about me providing tips and tricks on how you can use fashion to build your brand, but to also make yourself feel good.
How great to hear from our stylists and hear their unique stories. I think it really highlights just how diverse styling is and how many niches there are. I trusted it sparked some inspiration in you, as I know it did me. Something that I remember feeling when I first got started, and it might connect with you, was whether I would make the cut as a stylist and whether I'd even fit the mold. But very quickly, I learned that there was no mold to fit. It really was about me determining what I wanted, where my creativity could be best put to use, and what dream I could really bring to life. So speaking of dreams, look at what has been created by our stylists in such a short period of time. I'm so excited by what their futures really have in store. I'm also excited for you. I can't wait to see what inspiration has been sparked and what you do with that.